Hi, it's Stephanie O'Brien with the Rad Road. And as part of our Power of Stories video series, today we're going to focus on the power of star, or what we call star to start stories. These stories are a secret to the success of your interview skills, your networking skills, cover letters, follow ups, everything. You absolutely need to have an arsenal of star to start stories in your Power Platform of marketing materials for getting the job or internship. So today we're going to jump right in and talk about these star to start stories and what they are and how you can leverage them to ace the interview, to make your cover letters stand out and your follow-ups, and even just like networking on the phone, online Zoom calls. If you pull out your star to start stories, you will totally crush whatever you're doing. So let's jump in right now to the RAD star start story method. So let's just conjure up an interview. So you are in an interview, things are going well, you're chatting, you've nailed the first couple of questions, asking you about your experience, what you've been doing, let's say some real basic questions, but you're doing really well. And all of a sudden, you hear the interviewer say, tell me about a time when, and it's this open-ended question, and you're like, right? Your stomach drops and you're like, oh my God, I kind of knew what I was going to talk about. I have some examples, but like I can't, I forget exactly how I wanted to say it. And you're kind of stumbling through everything, right? We've all been there. And if you haven't, you will end up in this situation with a question like this, right? You are not alone. We've all been through it. And these types of interview questions are really tough to answer. But part of building your RAD brand platform is to have, as I said, an arsenal of these stories ready to go, and memorized, and you will shine and you will find yourself not stumbling through an interview, right? So these questions are called behavioral questions. It's what do you do when someone blocks you at work? Or have you ever encountered a difficult colleague? Or give me an example of a time that you overcame a challenge. Describe a situation where you showed leadership. It's these sort of open questions that are asked to see how you behave, how you respond in certain situations. And they're looking not just for general descriptions like, well, there was a time when I was a leader and I ran this project at school, and I spearheaded it, and I showed a lot of leadership skills. No, that is not it. Just describing your situation as a leader, even though they've asked you to describe it, that is not going to be enough, right? They are wanting specific behavior. So the RAD Star Start Story method provides a really focused, engaging framework for helping you tell a meaningful and compelling story about a previous experience. It can't just be descriptive. It really has to lay things out and be very meaningful to the hiring manager. And they're looking for certain skills and qualities. And these stories are going to showcase that. So let's go through the RAD Star Start Story method. Relevant, authentic, and differentiated star stories, right? So you start with the situation, the S. You're going to set the stage here and emphasize complexities while still being really laser focused on the situation. So you don't want to just say, well, we needed to revise our social media strategy in the internship that I was doing. So we sat down and we switched everything up. No, you want to tell the situation like sales were down, engagement was down, the company was really worried. They brought in us as interns and me because we're young and we understand social media, and we really needed to figure out how to pivot. and create a whole new social media strategy. See, so you've kind of set some drama, just like any story, and some complexities, right? But it was really concise and focused on what the situation was. So T, task. This is exactly how you fit in, the specifics of your role. And be careful here because some people go immediately into the action of the story. You still want to say what the objective was. So for me, my role was to lay out a strategy and come up with really creative ideas and options for a new social media strategy. But this is really difficult because, and you can say why it was difficult, the task, or why it was the challenge to even set yourself up more for success. So again, something specific. A, action. List the steps you took to solve the problem. So you want to focus on the specifics. So 1, I got a task force together. 2, we set up a series of brainstorms, each with a different subject. One brainstorm was on the creative platforms we were going to use. The second brainstorm was on content. Really list the action steps that you took. 3, I worked with the design department to create a branding, visual branding. List those steps out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our result. This is really important. Just say, so in the end, we shifted the strategy and created new content and it was great. No. What exactly were the results, right? If you can quantify them, like we implemented this new strategy and within 3 months, we had increased our engagement by 10%. If you can say something like that. And then or what was that impact, So we got even though we were only a group of interns, we were able to present it to the CEO and he's really excited and started to participate at the C level in the social media strategy, something really specific that came out of it, right? And the bonus is going from star to start. And that T is really key here, and that's translate. Oftentimes, especially when you're new to the job search, you don't realize that you need to bridge from your experiences and skills to the job itself and to the needs of the company or the hiring manager of the position. You need to say why what you did is important. So why was this story that you just told, even though it had results, why is it important to who you're talking to? Why is it important to the company that you're looking to be a part of? Why is it important to the hiring manager? So you are going to know this because you've really researched the company, the culture, and the job, and you're going to be able to translate. So why I'm telling you this story or giving you this example is because of this. Even if they've asked you the question, you still need to translate that, right? Okay, so we're going to go through a few of the big topics that you should have in your arsenal. And if you'd like to have a complete list of behavioral questions, please get in touch with us. We can send that to you because there's a whole bunch of them. And we're just going to focus on a few examples here to help you out. Okay. So also on a side here is we like to use core values as the lens through which you tell these stories. So it really helps you focus and develop your start stories. So example, say you've narrowed down that your core values are ingenuity, hard work, tenacity, optimism, and accomplishment. So let's work your story examples around those core values. So if they ask you for an example of how you show leadership, focus them on the lens of your core values, all right? And we'll show you how that works in just a second. All right, so a typical one is talk to me about a time when you overcame a challenge, right? So in this case, think of something that stood in your way, but you show that your core values and skills enabled you to overcome it. Not just tell the story, the start story, but weave in your core values. And that'll really help you when you translate. So you can say, so you see, you go through your whole start story about getting these 2 part-time jobs and, overcoming that challenge. And here's the action steps that you took to get the jobs and balance that out with your school. And here was the results of that. I saved this much money and, and then you're going to weave in and see this is an example of initiative. Initiative is really important to me as a core value. And So in overcoming this challenge, I showed initiative, and you can weave those core values into your story, and that's just going to make you more impressive and connect better to the job. All right. So when you worked as a leader, that's another type of story. So even if you were a camp counselor or you worked at a restaurant, not everyone has a fancy internship in New York, right? So here might be a time when, like, say at your internship, the team was feeling lost and you used your core values of being inspirational and solution focused and also collaborative. Instead of trying to figure it out yourself, you pulled the team together, you split them into groups, you created agendas, you delegated tasks to achieve. So tell your star story around these core values, okay? Another great star to start story to have in your arsenal is when you made a mistake. And on this, you really don't want to focus on the actual mistake you made, because everyone makes mistakes. They don't really want to hear all about the mistake. They want to know that you took ownership and that you found a solution to overcome that mistake. They're looking for character traits. And again, it's behavioral. How did you behave in this situation, right? So maybe core values here are you're self-aware, you believe in taking ownership, and you're very solutions focused. So tell your story about how you overcame that mistake, star to start, right? And make sure that you get that T on there, that translate of, so you can see in this position why in this situation, I was able to come over mistake. I was really solutions focused, and I know that's really important to this position. And you're looking for someone who can come in and take ownership of projects right away without a lot of attention. And that's me, because I just told you this story, right? That's that translate. So just to wrap up, we are here to work on your power platform, which is your interviewing skills, your networking skills, your resume, your profiles, your cover letters, right? And we do that through our relevant, authentic, and differentiated RAD STAR branding method, as well as we provide a lot of personal attention to you in terms of shifting your mindset and overcoming self-limiting beliefs and creating a positive and success mindset. And that's my partner, Dr. Stephanie Rooney, who is a Stanford-educated clinical psychologist, and she is amazing at helping you get your head straight and providing tools and processes for productivity, positivity, and success, right? And I am Stephanie O'Brien. I'm a veteran advertising executive. I worked in many big ad agencies like J. Walter Thompson, which might not mean anything to you, but brands like Kraft and Coors and American Express. And I also work with startups and smaller companies to help them on their branding, as well as clients like you, so that you can stand out from the competition and really crush your career goals. So we guide students like you and recent grads so that you're really aligning with your superpowers and your why and your mission and your values. And we help you translate all of those natural superpower skills and experiences into being relevant, authentic, and differentiated when you present and position yourself. And that's really important to getting that job and the internship. So we work one-on-one with clients. We're also developing a series of workshops, online workshops, and group coaching. If you have any interests, we would love to hear from you. So you can find us at the Rad Road on Facebook or radroad.com. And you can also email us here. We're both Stephanie O'Brien and Stephanie Rooney at theradroad.com. Thank you so much. Hopefully this is valuable in terms of elevating yourself in your interviews, but also you can use these rad star to start stories. Use one in a cover letter to really connect and show something really specific above and beyond those resume points. You don't need to recreate your resume. You can really use a story to connect in a cover letter or a follow-up. So again, let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.